I also have something of a more personal note to discuss, in which I recently, on a whim, decided to spit in a tube and send my DNA off to a 23&Me DNA analysis company in
Oh,
order to find out genetic traits and
oh.
ancestral background
You're in the
information.
database now. You know that, right?
I am
Database.
aware I'm in the database.
And that means that that thing that you may or may not have done, or that any other criminal in your family might have done, is now totally, absolutely, you can fucking, you're going to be logged. They got your data.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, they got the, who was it? The Golden State Killer or whatever, I think. There's somebody that was like a killer that was like unsolvable for a long time. And then someone related to him did a 23andMe, and they're like, oh, wait, who are you? That's awfully close to the evidence we found on these crimes on back then. Oh, here he is. He's an old man now. And they fucking found him that way. So it's pretty wild.
So there were a couple things that I was looking forward to on this. Um, One was, I'll have a chart of my ancestry. The other was that I was a little bit concerned. I was told that my dad had a wild period in his youth, and I was concerned that I would like put the DNA in and be like, "You have 16 bonus siblings." I do not.
Okay.
In fact, when I punched in my fucking DNA into the family chart, the closest I could get was like a cousin 3 times removed in Alaska. Like, nope, everything is as it appears.
Okay.
And confirmation that Paige and I are not related. Excuse me, sir.
I'm
Excuse me.
waiting for the but.
I do have my ancestry results, which are far more interesting. So I am 89% French, which
Yeah,
is
no
not
shit.
French enough for Quebec. I'm 9% British, 1% Scandinavian, 1% Italian,
Hey,
and most surprising of all, I am 0.1% African.
sure. Hey, well, allow me to introduce you to what we like to call the one drop rule.
See, you know what's funny? You say introduce, but when this came up, I turned to Paige and some friends of mine. I'm like, well, Wooly taught me about the one drop rule, so I'm
Ah.
basically black, right? Is
There,
that how that works?
would you like to take it for a test drive?
You know what? Do you know? You know, there's something. So, Wooly, I've been friends with you for decades, right? And let's take an example of a good friend of mine that I was talking to about this, my friend Stryden. Everybody on my channel knows him. He's the head mod. He's a good guy. And he says to me, Pat, don't trust Wooly. Wooly will tell you basically what you just told me because he thinks it's really funny to trick you. And he's right.
Take her for a
And I
test
knew that.
drive. This old butte. Get a feel for it. Get your hands on the wheel. Feel the clutch. Feel the shift gears a couple
Nah.
bit.
Nah.
Take her for a test drive. Come on. What if you like it? What if you like the feeling too much? That's the real. You never know.
I can't. Well, if I like it, then I can't stop. I'll just have to do it in secret. Um,
I mean, you like poor Punch Mom. Like, you don't even know. I'm just like, I'm gonna get you one of these days. One of these
Oh,
days.
yeah?
And she's like, I'm not gonna say it.
You're bringing in your N-word pass white people trickery
And I'm like,
to
are you
your
telling me?
wife?
And I'm like, hold on a minute. What about when you're singing your favorite hip hop songs and no one's around? Not even then. What are we doing here?
No.
And she's like, no, I don't.
Because you never know. People could be around.
What if? We'll see. We'll see.
So I guess I am Dr. Spaghetti now. 1% Italian. That's like a whole meatball, right?
Confirmed. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. And, dude, fucking 9%, and you're loyal to the Queen. You're part of the Commonwealth. You might as well fucking get the tea and crumpets out right now.
So here's where this actually leads into the
Apply
rest of
for
my
a
week.
license for that knife.
Here's where it actually loads in. So I was not ready for this, but in the past week, I've been playing The Witcher. I've been playing Live Alive, the remake of Live Alive, and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think it's Live Alive.
I thought it was Live Alive. Damn. Okay.
I can't get an answer because everyone just talks to me in text, right? But regardless, all of these games have voice acting, and literally every single one of them has just an astonishing amount of British in them. So Live Alive or Live Alive has a bunch of characters all over the Commonwealth. Witcher has a bunch of fucking dumbass, like criminal-sounding British people. But Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
Dear God, Lord hell.
Yeah.
This is now the third game in the experiment that is aggressive British dubbery. And it is so British that it feels like a made-up fantasy language that these characters are speaking. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has your lady healer start yelling bollocks, and people are committing, like, side quest starts with core blimey. Core blimey!
I mean, I think my introduction to this, like, this dub world was through the last story, and, like, it was such aggressive British dubbing that they brought in multiple kinds of British. They had, they had the Cockney, the Londoner slang, and then they had someone with, like, a Northerner's accent. And like,
well, they got Ronnie's voice actor doing a Welsh cat girl.
Right. Yeah, that's when they're going hard on it, and it's like, okay, we have to do something that would be the equivalent of like a Southern Texan drawl. What do we do?
People are doing, like, they're calling people moppets. There's a guy in like a Cockney accent when you see a rare item going, "Oh, that's a fancy doodah, isn't it?" And you're like, God damn! Wow! Fuck! It's crazy!
I was listening to someone speaking, God, what the fuck is it called? Shit.
Scouse?
Breton.
Breton?
Have you heard of Breton? So
yeah, they have 50% magic resistance in Skyrim.
So it's also a Celtic province in France, and they speak like a language that is French and Celtic at the same time, and it's fucking fascinating.
Awful.
That sounds fascinating.
Like the worst thing in the world.
It's you're hearing like you're hearing like the French accent cuts coming in on a completely different language. It's wild. Anyway, yeah.
So I just wanted. It's funny. It's consistently hilarious.
Yep. It is interesting that, like, every time something gets dubbed, there's always there's always a linguistic equivalent in your given dialect of, or in your given language of like, this is what Hicks sound like and this is what city
Yeah.
people sound like, you know.
Yeah.
Osaka Ben versus fucking, you know, or Kansai Ben rather.
Yeah.
All that shit. It just like it's what we do, and there's always an equivalent that you can find that'll be appropriate.
So I will say that despite the fact that Xenoblade is going as hard as it can, it's so British at times. It is kind of difficult to understand for me. Like it's like I don't like they'll say a sentence and like I don't know what a single word in that sentence meant. Um, Despite that, Witcher is actually even weirder about it because everyone in Witcher 1 talks with a fucking dirty fucking Cockney accent, right? Just intense. Except for any character that matters. Which is where it gets actually very strange. You're in what appears to be fantasy England, and every random piece of shit on the street is, "Oh, it's a witcher, yeah," right? But anyone with a human name has an American accent.
Oh, that is weird.
Anyone that matters has an American accent.
Oh God, it's like, oh no, if we don't do that, you won't care about them.
Yeah.
Oh
and
God.
Like, it's super fucking weird. It's absolutely fucking bizarre. You can tell kind of who's important based on how difficult it is for like me to understand them. When I walk up to Fat Fred in the goddamn inn and he goes, "Oh, we fought for money. You want yeah. I'm like, okay, well, Fat Fred doesn't mean shit. But if I go talk to, I don't know, the priest, who's the most important person in the early game, he's just got, "Hey, oh, Witcher, I don't know what we're gonna do about this," and it's like, oh, okay, he's like a normal human, okay. Like, there's a weird, like, subhuman fucking form of average person in the Witcher game where they talk with the British. It's so fucking weird.
I wish other games had the balls of Disco Elysium to just have like a ton of different accents and a ton of different types, you know, that are like just. It's a fictional world with fictional settings, but you're still getting the vibes of like, you know, something similar to what sounds like a French accent. You know, something similar to what sounds like whatever's going on with Measurehead. You know, like I wish that they would have fucking, you know, like make it interesting and not necessarily just like sweeping casts for whatever region and then go like, okay, like, make no mistake, I love me some fucking Paul Dobson, some Steve Blooms, you know, Jennifer Hale. We're talking about all that stuff. But there definitely are times where, even with like Mass Effect, I'm looking and I'm going like, okay, so is every single Quarian gonna have the exact same voice? Or are we gonna mix it up? Because it seems like the Asari get to have a couple different voices. Quarians are all one person right now, you know?
There is one guy with an American accent in the fucking Quarian race, and he's basically an action hero. And I think that's why he has an American accent. Because he sounds like a fucking drill sergeant.
You know, and Volus and Hanar and all of them. It's like, and you, admittedly, KOTOR, same idea, right? You talk to enough NPCs and you hear the same voice actors coming back around to do secondary roles. So, understandable limit of your budget.
So here's why that is. It's because the translation chip in your forehead is translating them to accents that would sound palatable to your human brain.
Of course, you're getting Babel fished. Yes.
Yeah. Also, you remember Dr. Michel from Mass Effect 1, the French doctor?
Which
Garrus
one?
goes and hangs out with her, and you shoot some dudes in her infirmary at the very beginning of Mass Effect 1. The redheaded doctor, she's got an intense French accent.
Drawing a blank.
Okay, anyway. Point being, like, the Mass Effect setting actually sets up that the idea of race or culture in human society is pretty gone because we've been intermixing in space for so long. So there's really just a distinction between Earth, space and Earth, kind of like Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you're running into Chakwas and Michelle, who are like, "Oh there," and "Oh no," it's like everyone has super intense, like Earth accents for some fucking reason. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway, I would imagine that if not for limitations, they would try to get a couple people to be like, not every Volus is gonna be that. Yes, Shepard. Like that.
Yeah, every
same
single
fucking,
one, every
like,
single goddamn one. That's right. They're all the
yeah.
same. They might as well all be the same guy.
Or just get, or I guess or cast people that are like fucking Billy West style, like just like switching back and forth with multiple voices and just able to turn it on and off, or like Hank Azaria.
You know what actually kind of bums me out? In Mass Effect 2, very early in the game, there's actually the opportunity to talk to somebody about this exact topic.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't want to. It's a cute little joke, so I don't want to mess with it. But basically, if you run into a Turian on the Citadel, ask him why you don't see any female Turians around.
Okay. I mean, lore reasons, they kind of explained that, like, Turian females are rare because they're, like, usually doing their breeding thing with the eggs.
There's a difference between the dry codex and actually talking to a dude about it. Also, you're thinking of Solarians.
Ooh, you're right. Sorry, my bad. Turians, yes, okay. Oh, I remember Dr. Chloe. Yes. In the med lab with the thing on the wall. Okay, I remember who that was now. Whoops. Right.
Oh man, I love how your memory went to the med lab with the thing on the wall, which I absolutely also remember. it's got the med kit thing on the fucking wall.
med kit on the wall. Yeah, totally. Yes.